Welcome to this explainer. Pull up a chair, let's get comfortable. We're talking about something super personal today. For anyone trying to grow in this digital age, if you're like me, you're probably just exhausted, right? There's this endless, overwhelming avalanche of information out there. We're in this era of constant self-optimization, and yet somehow we still feel totally unprepared for actual everyday life. So today, we're exploring a fundamentally different approach to personal growth.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine a scenario where personal development isn't something you put off. It's not a course you schedule for next month or some expensive retreat you have to save up for next year. What if learning happened the exact second you required it? What if support wasn't pre-packaged, but literally right there, immediately accessible, in the very moments that challenge you the most?
Look, we have more information than any generation before us. You can pull a glowing rectangle out of your pocket and instantly access the greatest minds, massive studies, and thousands of years of human philosophy. But let's be real for a second. Our problem today isn't a lack of information. Finding another article, another podcast, another video, or another 5-hour course, that's not what you need. Honestly, that sheer volume of content is exactly what's causing the fatigue.
The really difficult part is knowing, what do I do with this right now? Think about your own day. When you're stressed, overwhelmed, or facing a brutal decision, all that theoretical knowledge you binged, it just doesn't translate into action. You don't need a textbook in that exact moment. You need a tool. You need to pull that learning right off the screen and inject it straight into your immediate reality.
But instead of getting that seamless support, we get this fragmented tech reality. Our tools actually force us to chop our lives into these disconnected little pieces. You've got one app tracking your sleep, another one for a quick meditation, a completely different place for journaling, a task app, an AI chatbot over here, and a course platform over there. It's a mess. Life doesn't happen in neat little categories, but our tools force us to slice ourselves up, creating all this digital clutter just to survive the day.
We really need to cut through that noise. Imagine if support didn't start with you frantically swiping and asking, which of my 20 apps do I need right now? What if the whole paradigm shifted to one simple, grounding question? What is happening right now? Yeah, just pausing and addressing the actual present moment. It's a game changer. It pulls all your necessary resources together to deal with the reality of this exact second.
Which brings us to Section 1, the moment of need. Because as we all know, life simply doesn't wait. And this introduces a huge issue we can call the moment of need gap.
See, life isn't going to pause its chaos while you wait for your next therapy appointment. Most personal development happens way after the fact. You attend the course, you read the book, and then Tuesday happens. Picture this. You're standing right outside a meeting room. Someone just sent you this incredibly passive-aggressive message. You're overwhelmed, your heart rate is spiking, and you're about to walk in and agree to something when you desperately want to say no. In that high-stress hallway moment, all that past learning just completely evaporates, doesn't it? But that is the exact moment a skill actually matters.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, Section 2, the pivot, from content to microskill.
Because if a bloated 5-hour course doesn't help you outside that meeting room, what actually does? The answer is a microskill. These are small pieces of human capability that you can learn and use right in the situation where they matter. We aren't talking about overhauling your entire personality here. We're talking about highly targeted, actionable behaviors you can deploy right in the heat of the moment. It's learning at the exact moment of application.
Just compare the old way with the new way. The old way of consuming content is totally passive. You take a massive 5-hour course, only to completely forget the whole shebang by Tuesday when the pressure hits. Building capacity, on the other hand, is active. It's spending 3 quick minutes learning a micro skill and then using it 10 minutes later when you walk into that room. It's urgent, it's sharp, and it is incredibly effective.
Let's ground this in reality, because these aren't just vague concepts, they're real actions. Think back to that hallway. Maybe the skill you need today is just pausing for 3 seconds before answering, or asking just one clarifying question instead of jumping to conclusions. How about naming what you actually need, or separating the cold hard facts from the anxious assumptions in your head? Maybe you just need to prepare one solid boundary sentence before opening that door, or break a massive decision into just one responsible next step. You spend 3 minutes learning one of these and apply it instantly to completely change the trajectory of your day.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 3. Connecting the whole person. Because true support has to view you holistically. Context absolutely matters.
You see, deploying a microskill requires understanding that context. Human problems don't exist in isolated silos, but so often we misdiagnose our struggles. You might look at yourself and think, oh, my symptom is poor communication at work. But the reality?
You might just be dealing with sheer exhaustion and poor sleep. Or you think you're procrastinating and beat yourself up for lacking discipline, when actually you just lack clarity. You don't need another productivity hack. You need to recognize that fear is just disguising itself as urgency. Your life is deeply connected, which means your support system needs to be connected too.
Which leads us nicely into Section 4, the accountability loop. How do we track our success with these micro skills without falling into toxic, shame-based traps?
We all know the standard digital approach, right? That rigid, completion-based mentality. Did you exercise? Check. Did you journal? Oops, missed it. And boom, your 30-day streak is broken, and it's time for an app to make you feel completely terrible about yourself. But human behavior is way more complicated than a simple check mark. When you miss a day, a streak doesn't care why you missed it. Was the step too big? Were you totally exhausted? Did fear show up? Nope. Streaks teach you absolutely nothing about your own capacity.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely redefines success through the Human Readiness accountability loop. Notice, understand, choose, try, and return. This is grounded in reality. If you didn't follow through on a micro skill, this loop actually helps you learn from your answer instead of shaming you. You adjust, you bank what you learned, and you try again. Success here isn't about maintaining a perfect streak. It's about becoming more and more capable of understanding yourself and making intentional choices when life inevitably throws you a curveball.
Moving on to Section 5, technology as a tool, not a crutch, because the ultimate goal of any AI or wellness tech has to be to strengthen your human agency, never to replace it.
Your life happens outside the screen. You still have to have the tough conversation, make the decision, set the boundary, take the walk. The learning has to leave the screen and enter your actual life. You use the technology to quickly grab that micro skill, sure, but then you have to put the phone down and step into the arena. And then, crucially, you return and ask yourself, what happened when I tried it? Because that right there is exactly where information begins becoming true capacity.
So the crucial point is this. The app stays in your pocket. You live the life. These tools are not designed to be your digital guru, your doctor, or the ultimate authority over your existence. They are just there to give you structured support right when you need it, empowering you to take total ownership of your own actions. You don't serve the system equips you.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative final question for you today. Is your technology telling you how to live, or is it actually equipping you to live? I want you to genuinely think about the tools you use every day. Are they keeping you trapped in a cycle of passive consumption, or are they giving you the sharp, actionable micro skills to handle Tuesday afternoon? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today. Stay focused, stay curious, and take what you've learned here straight out into your real life.